Folks, welcome into sportsbookreview.com. Yes, it is Tuesday, October 27th, and yes, we are still talking Major League Baseball World Series Game 6 on deck, and I got to say, Jason, last time we spoke on Friday, it's like, it would be a real shame if we didn't get back in here and get to talk at least one more baseball game, maybe two. We got our wish. Here we are talking Major League Baseball once again for the World Series tonight. Good matchup on deck. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz, and we are sportsbookreview.com. Looking on Friday, though, I got to say, it's like, you know what? Plays to an under for me. I think we're going to roll with it. Threw my hands up around the fifth or sixth inning as the runs kept piling in, and then they went silent, Jason. But then, smashing all my hopes and dreams of another winner, a solo blast in the ninth inning, which had no impact on the game, but the over came back to haunt me. Oh, can't stand that.
Yeah, and when we talk about, MVPs, Arozarena was the guy that scored that home run. Then he gets the game-winning run in the other game. If the Rays end up going Game 7 and winning this series, Arozarena easily the MVP, unless something crazy happens like Blake Snell goes perfect game, because the guy hasn't even pitched 6 innings yet in the entire regular season in a single game. Maybe Charlie Morton does something crazy as well. But the reality is Arozarena has been incredible for the Rays. On the Dodgers end, though, they've had some really great pitching out of Clayton Kershaw. That's been kind of fun to watch, but I'm not sure he did enough for that MVP. So maybe your pick on Justin Turner could be the pick that gets the MVP. Seager's there too, but that Turner at plus 2,500 looking really good for you right now.
Yeah, give me a couple solo blasts tonight. I can see it happening. Maybe we got to go Game 7. Maybe get 2 solo blasts tonight. The Rays win 2 solo blasts in Game 7, and he puts it away for good here. Well, beggars can't be choosers. I'm just happy with a long shot ticket that I'm actually hanging around and being in it here. Guys, thanks for tuning in to us. 72,200 people have hit subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at sportsbookreview.com. If you haven't done so yet, hit that subscribe button. Turn that button from red over to gray, and also hit that notification bell, because Game 6, maybe even a Game 7, you get it delivered directly to your inbox. And Randy's in here. Chase is in here. Who else is in here? Akbar is in here. Mickey, Gabriel, Rara, KW. I'm trying to get all these names correct here. Thank you for tuning in for us today. And I am messing around here. No, Kyle did not get fired from our football show last night. We did have an action-packed show. Hey, it's kind of second half. You never know what's going to happen out there, Jason, when you get into a blowout. We had a lot of fun. But he will be on the football show a little bit later today. I'm just, busting some stones out here. Let's talk Major League Baseball today. Talking about early in the series, before it starts, we're thinking about what's going to take place. And I did take a play on the Rays plus 1.5, which I do need the Rays to win tonight. But again, just because you took something a week ago doesn't mean you can't change your mind and try to switch some up if you look in the hedge or even what you like tonight. But I got to say, I'm still leaning towards Tampa Bay. I like my initial prediction there where I thought Tampa Bay was a legitimate chance to win the World Series. Still think they do, and they have the better pitching matchup on the mound tonight. If we get right into the game at SBRodds.com, roughly, Jason, a 50-50 ticket split in this one opens up Offshore Pinnacle at 137 as a favorite for the Dodgers, and that's come down about 10 cents. Pinnacle 126, Chris 126. Even the New Jersey books hovering FanDuel 132, Bet 365 125. So you're getting a slight favorite here on Tampa Bay. The one interesting thing about this game, we thought it would be a bullpen game, and I think they're just using this as a psychological advantage for Gonsolin, who's going to go up against Snell tonight, because Dave Roberts' words were, he's not the opener. He's our starting pitcher. If he's going to be pitching well, he's going to go 5 or 6 innings if he can. I don't think that's going to be the case. I just think that's in your mind because Gonsolin has a high ERA in the postseason, but you want to give him a bump, Jason. You don't want to come into Game 6 in a clinching game and say, hey, you know what? As soon as Gonsolin gets in trouble, we're yanking him. You sort of want to put it in his head like, hey, you're the starter tonight. You're not the actual opener, and let it go. But I don't know if that's going to be the case.
Yeah, so Gonsolin, he's allowed 8 runs in 7.2 innings pitched, 6 hits, 7 walks. That's not what he did in the regular season. He was a lot better in the regular season. And I don't know if you guys saw, but he became the Baseball America Rookie of the Year. So that's how good he actually was in the regular season. It hasn't really transformed or transferred into the postseason. But I think getting that confidence from your manager saying, hey, you're not going to get that yank at 1.1 innings pitched, and then you're not going to be leaving the game, or whatever the case might be. I think Gonsolin pitches better knowing that. And, really, in his first game against the Rays, he went 1.1 innings pitched, allowed 1 home run, 1 walk, and that was it. He wasn't terrible. He wouldn't be yanked if it was a regular season game. He was yanked really early, and obviously, they ended up losing that game. But I think Gonsolin, knowing he can be able to go deeper and won't just be that one inning, then get a piggyback starter behind him, knowing Dustin May already pitched a couple of days ago. Maybe Urias ends up pitching, after Gonsolin in this one off a little bit of short rest. But yeah, I think Gonsolin's going to pitch better than he has in the postseason so far. I think if he finds his control and his command just a little bit better, he'll do well. And this is a guy in the regular season, he really did well the first time around the order. He really did a lot better. He had like a 140 average in the first time around the order. The second time around the order, kind of struggled a little bit. That third time around the order, if he got to that point, he actually did really well. So if he can get through that first go around against the Rays, the second time, if he can get through them as well, the stats say that he'll pitch well in that third go around as well. Look, I don't think he'll get that far. Don't expect it either. But the reality is, I think Gonsolin will pitch a lot better than he has previously in the postseason. Has full week of rest or 5 days of rest. He's gonna look good. He'll be prepared, and that'll be that. On Snell, with Blake Snell on the mound for the Rays, obviously the Rays have Snell and Morton going these next two games. They're in a much better position when it comes to Gonsolin and Buehler going. Of course, Buehler is a great pitcher and has done really well in the postseason and will get Game 7 if needed. But knowing you have Snell versus Gonsolin, obviously Snell is a much better pitcher in this matchup. That's got to keep you confident going into the Game 6 than knowing you have Charlie Morton Game 7 if that becomes the final game of the series. But with Blake Snell, it does have a 3.33 ERA in the postseason. The last two games, though, it's been a little bit not encouraging. Went 4.2 innings pitched against the Dodgers, allowed 2 hits, 2 runs, 4 walks. Did have 9 strikeouts. That was the difference between his other starts. And if you go back to his last 3 starts before that start, he actually, struck out just 10 batters. Then goes against the Dodgers in 4.2 innings pitched, gets 9 strikeouts. Obviously, allowed 2 hits, 2 runs, but those 4 walks. Now you go back to his last 2 starts. He hasn't went 5 innings, and he's also walked now combined 8 batters in 8.2 innings pitched. So in 8.2 innings pitched, he's walked 8 batters. That needs to change if the Rays are going to get a solid performance out of Snell. I do think that will change. Obviously, he walked 3.24 batters per 9 innings during the regular season. So, in those last 2 games, you're looking at about 9 walks per 9 innings, which is just not even sustainable for any bad pitcher or good pitcher. So I think those walks go down. He didn't allow too many hits. I think he'll pitch a lot better in this game as well. It's going to be an interesting matchup. It's going to be fun. I think there'll be a lot more hits probably later in this game. But again, it's a great matchup, and obviously we can have a champion in this final game.
Yeah, pedigree pitching. Obviously, Blake Snell is going to get that nod. But also, if you take a look at both of these pitchers here today, Jason, over the last 4 games, Blake Snell has given up 5 home runs in the postseason. And then you take a look at Gonsolin's numbers here. He only has 7.2 innings pitched in the postseason. He's also giving up 3 home runs, not even over 9 innings. But also keep in mind tonight, there's something that we've always preached, and certainly you could take a look at it tonight and also into your future capping, is these places that have domes, air conditions on, elements aren't in there, ball doesn't travel as well, elements open, ball travels farther. Tonight looks like we're going to get some drizzle and rain, so there's a good chance that this roof might be closed tonight, so maybe dampering some of those runs. But again, even with that, still Arozarena hits a solo blast in the 9th inning and ruins my total the other night, so I'm still a little salty about that overall. But when you look at the pitching matchup, I agree, like when you're getting an ace on the mound, which you think Blake Snell can possibly be, he's only gone into the 6th inning, Jason, 1 time out of 5 postseason starts. You see 5.2 innings in the first one against Toronto, which he pitched very well, 5 innings, 4 innings, and then 4 2/3. So he hasn't made it out of the 5th inning in the obviously outside of that first game versus Toronto. And then you look at Gonsolin. Of course, I think he's going to go 2 to 3 innings. They're going to hand it over to the bullpen. But also when you take a look at the Dodgers tonight, you're not coming with that, we have to close it out tonight. There is no tomorrow because you still have a really good pitcher on deck for Game 7. It's not as if you're going to go with your best stuff tonight and then you go with a pitching matchup in Game 7 that's not to your advantage. So I think those bats will come to play tonight. We take a look at the over-under in this game. Opens up all short 8.5, but now we're seeing it dip down to 8s across the board, where as you get closer to a championship, every run counts. Maybe you're hitting behind the runners more as opposed to playing for the bigger inning. You're going to throw the kitchen sink out of your bullpen specifically if you're Tampa Bay side, just to try to extend it into a Game 7. But as we look at it overall, I'm going to stick with my initial analysis. I thought Tampa Bay would be able to carry it to at least a Game 7 or even possibly winning Game 6, which they can't do now. But I'm looking at this number. 126 is the favorite for the Dodgers. It does seem cheap, but I'm going to go ahead with the Tampa Bay squad tonight and take that plus 105 to plus 10 wherever it's available out there. And also the same thought process behind, if I do think Tampa Bay is going to win tonight, Jason, I'm with you. They're not going to win 3-2. Like, you're not holding the Dodger bats down for 9 innings and having 4 hits and 1 earned run. That's not going to be the case. So if I do think Tampa Bay is going to win tonight, which I do, they are going to have to get 4+ runs. So I also like the Tampa Bay Rays team total over the 3.5 minus 121 sitting there currently at Will Hill. It just matches up to my eye here, and I'm not going to bail out and say, well, hey, I got the plus 1.5, so why don't I hedge it a little bit and take the Dodgers tonight? I don't think that's the case. I think Tampa Bay has a legitimate shot to win tonight and also cash my 1.5 and also hit that team total tonight as well, Jason. Which way are you looking on some best bets and bankers tonight?
So I think you guys can tell that I'm pretty sold on Gonsolin having a solid performance today, despite what we've seen out of him, recently and in the postseason. I think Gonsolin performs a lot better in this game. Also think Blake Snell looked really good against the Dodgers. Of course, we need him to limit his walks, but he was pretty much unhittable in that first game against the Dodgers, getting 9 strikeouts and 4.2 innings pitched. Of course, the walks, again, they were a problem. The hits were also, were pretty low in that game, haven't been too low throughout the entire season. But I think both these pitchers, pitch pretty well. Obviously, we have bullpens that have, another day of rest that definitely helps. Probably more the Rays and the Dodgers, but I think it helps obviously both teams in the long run. I would say Snell should go 5 innings in this game. Of course, all hands are on deck, right? So would I be surprised if Snell leaves before 5 innings? I wouldn't be surprised, but I think if the Rays are going to win this game, then Snell has to pitch 5 innings, 100%. Gonsolin, he might go 3 innings if he's having a good outing, maybe 4 or 5. At most as well. But with that said, I think under 4.5 in the first 5 is the play at minus 115. It's an official play for me. I think both these pitchers start off really well. There's a lot of pressure on both of these lineups to really kind of produce in this game. When there's a lot of pressure on these batters and these hitters, they start kind of having to reach and start trying to hit balls that they shouldn't be, being a little too aggressive. This and that. Well, Snell had 9 strikeouts, so you could be as aggressive as you want, but Snell will get strikeouts if you're aggressive. On the other hand, Gonsolin, he still struck out 9 batters per 9 innings when he was starting in the regular season. Also walked 1.35 and allowed 0.39 home runs per 9 innings. He's actually allowed more home runs in the postseason than he did all of the regular season. So that like you said, if the roof's closed, I really don't expect Gonsolin to let up any home runs in this game against the Rays. The only guy, maybe Arozarena, or obviously Lau, of course. But I don't think that he'll be allowing any home runs in this game. So obviously tread lightly. Don't go crazy with any of these bets or any of these games or these World Series games, because it's really hard to break it all down and know what's going to happen. Because if Gonsolin comes out, who comes in? Will it be Julio Urias? Are they going to save him for Game 7 if Buehler starts to struggle? We don't know. So definitely keep that in mind. We don't really know who's going to be coming in for the Dodgers for maybe the 4th, 5th inning if Gonsolin does get into some trouble. But I do think Gonsolin has a good performance, so I'm going to roll with that under 4.5 in the first 5 at minus 115. For me, that's the one official play for me on this game.
Yeah, because we're in Game 6 of the World Series here, so even if you're taking a look at some of the added outside things between the Tampa Bay Rays and the Dodgers, meaning who's going to be able to throw more out of their bullpen? Well, obviously we know the Rays, there is no tomorrow if they lose. There is one for the Dodgers, but that's still not the way you manage this. You can't just say like, hey, you know what? If Gonsolin's struggling, gives up 2 runs over the first 2 innings, well, let's just let him eat some innings so we'll save everybody for game 7. You can't do that because you can't play that way and say, hey, well, everybody in the bullpen is going to be really good in game 7. That might not be the case. So I think you're going to get both shots from both starting pitchers and both bullpens enough to max it out as if they're both treating it as a game 7. Yes, the Dodgers can still lean on Walker Buehler. Morton's going to go for the Rays, but you can't not take advantage of a chance where even if you're down 2 runs in the Dodgers, you're not going to save your best bullpen guys for game 7 because you don't want to pitch them in game 6 when there's a great chance with your offense that you can come back. So when I look at this game, I would be real surprised, honestly, if one team, whether it be the Tampa Bay Rays win tonight or the Dodgers, Jason, win by more than 1 run. I see it coming right down to the wire in this game. And again, keeping the roof closed, everybody's going to be available on deck for the pitching matchups that you're going to want to see later in the innings. You still do have to worry about that Dodgers offense because they can get it going at any time. But I would be really surprised if this game ends up like, 5-1, 5-2, or 7-3 final. I think it's going to be a pretty close game tonight. If we're taking a look at game 6 predictions, forget about the score. What would surprise you in this game? A pitcher getting roughed up, some guy going off at the plate, or a blowout or a close game? Give me a surprise from you tonight, Jason, that you're looking at game 6. Like, you know what? I would be surprised if this happened.
Yeah, when we can talk about the pitching matchups, let's say Blake Snell allows a couple runs before Gonsolin. That I'd be pretty amazed by. If the Rays come out early with an early lead, that's how it should be, right? But if the Dodgers go away with the lead early in this game, I don't know if the Rays can come back. I'd be shocked if Snell allowed a couple runs early, and if he does, that would be kind of the shocker there because obviously Gonsolin's had the worst postseason out of these starters, and if Gonsolin comes out with pitching like Snell, and Snell comes out pitching like Gonsolin, that would be pretty shady if you ask me.
No, it would be pretty shady if that happened. But hey, here it is, game 6 tonight, and we got our wish. We didn't just leave you guys hanging over the weekend and say, hey, you know what, baseball's over. And I think there's a pretty good chance that me and Jason will be talking World Series baseball tomorrow again. Game 7s are one of the special things that we do have in sports. It would be fun. And you know what's even more fun? Because I like the Rays and have the Rays plus 1.5. So even more fun if I'm able to watch a game 7 tomorrow night. But we'll see how it translates over. Got some good bets on deck. Let's see if we can close this season out strong. If not, you guys have supported us all summer long. A lot of good stuff in the chat box as always, and certainly adding to those subscribers each and every day. We love to talk Major League Baseball, and we might get it for at least one more day. So guys, good luck with your wagers out there. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Jason Radowitz. We're sportsbookreview.com, and this is your World Series show for Tuesday, and maybe we'll be back on Wednesday. Take care.